So you actually think the Saints have their hands full this week, even though you guys are third in scoring, you're fifth in defense scoring-wise. You're not led by Drew Brees anymore. I mean, he's still the leader, but, I mean, it's not like he has to throw for 5,000 yards. You guys are getting amazing contributions on the ground. The defense obviously contributing. This looks like, from afar, it looks like a pretty damn complete football team.
Well, it's a complete team in a sense, but they're a young team as well. And at some point, some of the mistakes that they've been making, they're going to come back to bite them. They're going to come back to haunt them. I mean, this team has the last 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, this team, I think it's 4 weeks now, this team has fumbled inside the red zone. This team has had a turnover inside the red zone, either a fumble or an interception inside the red zone, and they've been able to come it the last 4 weeks. But, you know, as the competition stiffens up, you're not going to be able to have those luxuries. I mean, last week we didn't have a muff punt. The previous week you had 2 muff punts. You know, you were fortunate enough to recover one of them, but you lost one. So, I mean, little things like that, that's going to come back to bite you at some point.
Talk about the running game in particular, because you have Kamara, who's a rookie, and Ingram has exploded this year. I mean, just a deadly combination of 2 running backs.
Well, they've done really, really well. And, you know, what was surprising was just even when you look at it from last week's standpoint, how much motion really, I don't want to say confused Buffalo, but made them kind of get their eyes in the backfield. And I call it eye candy. You know, the Saints do a real good job with their personnel. They do a real good job with formationing teams. And then Sean will find some weakness where, hey, look, this motion affects this alignment, or this motion affects this linebacker. And it was really surprising how much just some simple motion that the Saints put in affected Buffalo, where, I mean, it left gaping holes up the middle. I mean, I felt like the Saints going into that game could run the football, but I didn't think that they would be able to run it like they did, particularly with the success up the middle.
Deuce, how are defenses attacking New Orleans? Because you've got the two-headed monster there with Kamara and Ingram, but you've got Brees. I mean, you key on the run, Brees can kill you. He's got he's got a couple good tight ends, Kamara out of the backfield. So how are you noticing, as a former player, that defenses are preparing for this offense?
Well, a lot of times you are getting 2 safeties. I mean, and so when that is the case, then that's normally a run. Now, you may have 1 safety that rolls down. I mean, but the one thing that the Saints did, particularly last week when that started to happen, they were able to get the ball to Mike Thomas, and Mike Thomas goes over 100 yards. I mean, the thing that really makes the Saints scary is when Ted Ginn Jr. can get up top. I mean, and when he can put pressure on teams as far as being able to blow the top off of a defense, then, you know, that's a big play waiting to happen. And so when they can do that, then that's when they become a very, very dangerous team. So some teams are saying, hey, look, you know, you are going to have to run the ball. I don't think that you can run it. And really, this past weekend was probably the second game that the Saints have had their starting offensive line together, and, you know, you're still missing a starter. The starter presumably was Zach Strief, and he's out for the year. But Ryan Ramczyk has played the first rounder, the rookie. He's played in every game just because there's been so much shuffling on the offensive line. I mean, and so last week was really the second complete game that the starting offensive line played together. And, you know, if they can continue to stay healthy and get some continuity going, then, yeah, they could be a very, very dangerous team.
Joined by Deuce McAllister, former Saints Pro Bowl running back, color analyst on the Saints broadcast network. Who was it in the front office, or was it a consensus as far as moving up in the 3rd round to grab Alvin Kamara? I mean, he's been just a revelation, 6.5 yards per carry. Also the threat out of the backfield, catching passes from Drew Brees. Was it one guy or a small group that was really stumping to move up and grab him? How did that pan out?
Well, that was really a Sean Payton move. I mean, since he's been in New Orleans, even, you know, going back to when I was playing for him, we've always had kind of this joker player. And that joker player is a guy that can line up in the backfield, he can line up in the slot, and then he can line up out wide. And when I was playing, it was Reggie Bush. And so, you know, after Reggie, it became Darren Sproles. And so for the last 3 or 4 years, the Saints offense hadn't had that type of player. And for the Saints, or really for Sean, they were up visiting Josh Dobbs. They were up looking and scouting Josh Dobbs, the Tennessee quarterback, more so than they were scouting Alvin Kamara. Well, he needed another receiver to be able to throw the ball to, and they talked Alvin Kamara into being that guy. Look, Sean was directing that workout. He just put him through a lot of the routes that they would run in this system. And they drafted him. There were people that were furious as far as the fan base was concerned because you traded away a 7th rounder and a second rounder for next year's draft class. And so, people felt like that, hey, look, you have Adrian Peterson, you have Mark Ingram. Why do you need this player? And he's just been a perfect fit for that offense.